Hi, I'm Randy Hollenbeck, and this is the Music Roundtable. Today on the show, we have singer-songwriter Emily Noel.
Hi. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Said goodbye to all my family and my friends. My little white car was packed up to the brim. I looked in the rearview mirror at everything in my whole life, and I shed a tear and I thumbed my car in dry.
I wanted to dig into some of your history, how you got involved in music and what age.
Okay, sure. Music has been a constant thing in my life since I was a little kid. I grew up in the church. So I always sang in, the church choir, and all through school, I was, involved musically in concert band and chorus and all those things. But it wasn't until I was 15 I got my first guitar, and I had no idea how to play it whatsoever. My parents were like, "Here you go," because they knew I wanted one. I was like, great, I'm kind of on my own. So I was self taught and I taught myself, some chords and things like that. And that's kind of when I started the whole like writing process. I really didn't know what I was doing. I just kind of did what sounded good. Um, and like all through like high school and, my adult years, I was always trying to do something, whether it be like start a band or, a singer songwriter duo. But it wasn't until after my divorce, actually, that it really kind of launched me into doing music seriously and like really starting to pursue something with it and really starting to, do something with my own songs and start to record them and release them and go from there. So it's been kind of a wild ride, and I haven't really stopped since.
Can you tell me some of your musical influences?
Yeah, so I am kind of all over the place with my influences. So my very favorite band is Incubus and Deftones, which is kind of funny because everyone's like, "But you do country," and I kind of always say country found me. I didn't necessarily find country because, where I grew up, country was very prominent, but like all the alternative and like rock side has always kind of been my favorite. And so that's kind of how I grew up listening to all of like the 90s grunge and, Fiona Apple and No Doubt and all of those female artists have really inspired me throughout the years. But, there's a lot of other artists like ZZ Ward. Um, I'm trying to think of some other ones that aren't really like well known, but I kind of just really go off of what I vibe with. And, some days it's, country, some days it's rock, sometimes it's metal. And, it just really depends. I kind of get my influences from all over the place. Whatever sounds good to me and feels good is like what I love to listen to.
Do you have a band or you solo?
I do. When I first got here, obviously I didn't know anybody yet. So I'm originally from Pennsylvania and I moved to Nashville almost 2 years ago in June. And, when I first got here, the pandemic was still kind of, a really big thing. Like nothing was really going on, nothing was really open. So it took about a good 6 months or so until I was able to really kind of get out there and meet people. But I do have a band now. We're a four-piece, and we're looking to add, a fifth member sometime later this year to do lead guitar. But it's been a lot of fun. They've really become my best friends and my musical family, and we have a lot of fun together. And yeah, we're excited to. We've been playing some gigs and we have some upcoming gigs in Pennsylvania this week and some in Nashville, and we're just loving it. We're just having fun creating music together and getting on stage together.
How did you put the band together? Did you put out like ads or did you find somebody you liked and you just ask them if they wanted to join your band? How did that work?
Yeah, so it's kind of weird how it all came together. So I found my drummer first. Actually, he was the first member of my band, and I wasn't even looking for a drummer at that time. I was just kind of looking for a guitarist to, do some acoustic duo stuff and write together. And so I put an ad out on like a Facebook musician finder, and he actually responded to me. He's like, "Hey, I know you're not looking for a drummer yet, but I'd really be interested in like, meeting up with you and like being your drummer when something like when you start to put the band together." And so I was like, "Yeah," I was like, "Absolutely, like that would be really fun." And at the same time, another guitarist that wasn't living in Nashville yet had reached out to me. So we actually got together and had dinner, and we just kind of talked about our influences and what we're looking to do. And we kind of went from there and started to just kind of do like an acoustic trio thing. And then that guitarist actually decided to kind of move on to do another project. And so another guitarist actually reached out to me in the meantime, and we got together and we started just like playing, and our voices just matched so well together. He just really harmonized really well with what I was doing. And so the three of us met, and we started playing together as just like an acoustic trio and doing things like that. And then um, just a few months ago, my bass player joined us, and we've been playing together as a four piece for about 3 months or so, I would say. So we just kind of found each other, and it really worked. I always get nervous. I'm like, oh gosh, like, are we all gonna like get along and things like that? But it worked out really well, and we just all really have a good time together. So it's been great.
What city is your band based out of?
Nashville, Tennessee. Yep. So we're all here in Nashville. We're not all originally from Nashville. My bass player and my drummer are both from Iowa, but they didn't know each other in Iowa, so it's kind of funny that they are from the same place. And then my guitarist is originally from Mississippi. So we all kind of actually, well, my bass player has been here for a few years, but me, my guitarist, and drummer have all been here about like 2 years or so.
See my name in shining lights. I know it'll be alright. Dreams are worth fighting for. I've always wanted more, so I head on down the road. Turn up the stereo. Promise I'll make you proud. I can be a hometown hero.
When the pandemic hit and live music shut down for that year, what did you do during that time?
So I did a lot of writing, and I did a lot of practicing like covers and things like that. And I just spent a lot of time kind of figuring out who I wanted to be as an artist, and I wanted like what I wanted to kind of sound like, because I knew at that point that I was going to move to Nashville. Like it had already been in the work. So I was like, okay, so who am I going to be when I go there? Like, what is it that I want to sound like? And so I spent a lot of time really trying to figure that out and kind of just hone in on my writing skills. And I did a lot of drinking too during the pandemic, because didn't we all? But musically, that's what I focused on. But yeah, it was really a wild time, but I'm also grateful for it because I feel like it really helped me kind of figure out who I was at that time as a person and an artist.
When the lockdown lifted and live music returned, did you notice like more energy and the crowd more engaged?
Oh, for sure. For here in Nashville, nothing really shut down 100%. It did for a little bit, but a lot of the shows kept going on. So um, I feel like people were more thankful to be out and to be in the crowd and to listen to music. So, I feel like it was just different here than it was in PA, because when things were still going on here in Pennsylvania, a lot of my friends still weren't playing shows, they still weren't going out. So it was kind of a little different.
I wanted to dig in your songs here. You had "Hometown Hero." It came out in May of 2021. Um, is that song about you like packing up and leaving for Nashville?
It was, and, I can still remember that day, and every time I hear that song, I think about it. It was a really surreal moment, kind of, having everything packed away, and because it was COVID, there was a lot of people I didn't get to say goodbye to. I had planned, you know, going away party and all those things to be able to see everybody and celebrate this big, like, monumental thing I was doing, and I couldn't do it. And so, at the time, the person I was dating was the only one I saw the day that I moved. Like, he had helped me pack everything up. And, I drove away, and it was just kind of like really crazy to just kind of look in that mirror, the rear view mirror, and just like see him in the background, and then, like, saying goodbye to my apartment for the last time. And, it was a really weird feeling because I was sad, but I was also really excited. And so, once when I got on the highway, like, I just was like, okay, like, this is it. I'm going for it. Like, so just turn up the music and let's go. I got 12 hours to kind of figure this out in my head. And, so I wrote that song really based off of, yeah, like everything I was feeling, like just being not sure what was going to happen. And, here I am, and, things are going pretty well. So I'm pretty thankful for that. But yeah, I wanted to write it as a thank you to my hometown, and just like, even though I'm here doing different things, like, I never will forget everything that I learned there, and that, like, they taught me.
Now, when you left, did you have, like, everything set up in Nashville, like a place to stay and all of that before you left?
Yeah, so I had a place to live and I had a job. So I got here on June 1st and I started my job June 2nd. So, that was another great thing, kind of like with the shutdown happening with my other job. We worked 1 week on, 1 week off. So the weeks that I was off from my job, I would come down here to Nashville and kind of get things set up in my house. And I was doing job interviews and things like that. So I pretty much had all of the important stuff set up before I came. um, but as far as, like, knowing anybody, I didn't know a single person. It was pretty interesting.
You have Smoke and Mirrors coming out. Um, is that song about someone portraying a fake image of themselves?
Yeah, yeah. So pretty much, yeah. So you got to listen to it, and so no one else has really heard it yet. There's a couple people that have listened to it. It's still in the mastering phase. So a couple people have heard the mix of the music. So it's about a lot of different people, but it's all about the same thing. In this world, and it could be a friend, it could be a family member, it could be someone you're dating. They tell you all these things and they portray them to be someone that they're not. And then, once they kind of got you hook, line, and sinkered, and you're like in it with this, like, relationship, whatever that may be, you're just like, whoa, this is like not anything that I signed up for. Like, everything that you told me, you're doing the complete opposite. And so me and my friends were kind of out one night and we were just talking about it. And my friend was talking about, this guy she was going on a date with. And I'm just like, it's all just smoke and mirrors, all of it. Like, and I was like, hey, I was like, that would be a really great song. And so, that's kind of what inspired me. So it's not one, like, person specifically that it's about. It's about a lot of different people, but, about the same thing.
What do you got planned for 2022?
So I have, once the single comes out, I'm gonna go back in the studio and I'm gonna start working on my EP, which I've always wanted to do. I've never done one before, and so I feel like now I'm finally at the right place and it's the right time, and I'm with a producer and musicians, and co-writing with a lot of people that were just making sense of my thoughts and my feelings. So that's something I'm really looking forward to working on. I have a song that's we'll be working on in a couple weeks here. That will be the first single off of it. It's called "This Is My Year," and I got to write it with Stone Eiley, who also writes with Priscilla Block, and he wrote a couple songs off of her new album that just came out, "The Block Party," which is really exciting. And the whole song just kind of embodies, like, I finally feel like this is my year. Like, I'm finally in the right time, in the right place, that, like, everything's just kind of working out. And I just have this feeling that, like, just things are just going to be really good this year. I don't know exactly everything that's going to happen this year yet, but I just know whatever it is, it's going to be something that I've been working really hard towards. So, that's kind of what to be what the EP is a little bit about, but that's going to be the first single. So I'm really excited to get in the studio and work on that. and just more shows, and in Nashville, and kind of traveling outside of Nashville. We have Kentucky and Alabama that's all around that has some really great places. So it's just about getting out there and building the fan base and just writing as much as I can.
When do you think, the song "Smoke and Mirrors," when do you think that will be released?
So it's going to be released definitely by the end of this month. We don't have a specific release date yet. So make sure you follow me on Instagram and Facebook. You can find me on social media, Emily Noel Music, and I'll like be posting all of the updates to that. But yeah, it'll definitely be the end of this month, probably within the next week or so. I'm hoping for, but definitely before March is over, that song will be out. So I'm super stoked about it.
Yeah, that was my next question, how to get a hold of you, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Yeah, so I'm definitely I try to be really present on Facebook and Instagram. Probably more so Instagram, just because I do more stories and things like that. But definitely, either way, you can reach out to me. You can shoot me an email, emilynoelmusic@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you and talk to you. But Facebook and Instagram are the best places to find me and see what's going on.
That's all the questions I have. Thanks for coming on the show today. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
See my name in shining